You know something is wrong when an American Affidavit of Probable Cause. The premise for this affidavit. The President of the United States says one thing and then does the exact opposite repeatedly, day after day. Members of Congress pass laws they admittedly don't read and then exempt themselves from the consequences. Millions of foreign nationals are entering the country illegally and receiving payouts from the Social Security Administration, having never contributed a dime to the fund. Our military veterans are going hungry to bed, being denied basic medical care, education, and other benefits they were promised. Our elderly are being forced out of their homes and into grossly substandard nursing home facilities. American student test scores are in a free fall. The local police are ramming around in military jeeps bristling with tactical weapons, acting like Rambo on speed. Millions upon millions of American homes are foreclosed upon and left standing empty to decay, while more millions upon millions of Americans are left homeless. The buying power of the dollar is in the toilet. The cost of basic commodities continues to skyrocket. The cost of oil and gas continues to be high in the middle of a worldwide supply glut. Coal ash, a dangerous industrial waste product, is being sprayed on us. Another poisonous industrial waste, fluoride, outlawed for over a decade throughout Europe, is being added to our drinking water. Mad scientists are being allowed to market genetically modified plants that internally manufacture their own pesticides and permanently poison our food supply. The banks are running entire governments as Ponzi schemes based on legal tender laws, identity theft, and securities fraud. The court system is running a gambling racket out of our courthouses that profits itself from putting people in jail. All the major news media outlets in America are owned and operated by foreigners who feed us nothing but sex, death, and propaganda. And the judges and lawyers are helping expedite all of this. While the Queen, the President, the Congress, the governors, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and all the rest of the people who are on our payroll and who are in one way or another responsible for this mess are standing around looking stupid. We present an American Affidavit of Probable Cause, in which we describe the wrongs and injuries which have been promulgated against us and against our countrymen as a result of this misadministration of the Global Estate Trust and British Crown, breach of trust by international trustees, and fraud committed against us by our own employees, allies, and individuals claiming to represent us. The Jigsaw Puzzle. The information supporting this affidavit has been compiled for many years and by many Americans who have suffered every kind of outrage and injustice. We can't possibly name them all. Some are dead, some are in prison, but they each came forward under dire threat and contributed their piece to the puzzle. Disclaimer: the truth is not relative, the truth is absolute. However, we are mammals. The best we can do is tell the truth to the best of our knowledge and ability. This we have done and are doing. Part 1. The history you don't know or think about. The trust. Trusts are created when one party, the donor, places assets in the care of another party, the trustee, for the benefit of a third party, the beneficiary. God, the donor, gave the earth, the asset, to Adam, the trustee, for all future generations, us, the beneficiary. We take our turns. As children, we are beneficiaries. As adults, we are trustees. As elders, we are donors. Boniface VIII. The 1303 Brainstorm. Let's see. God gave the earth to Adam. Adam gave it to his kids. It all came down to Jesus, who gave it to Peter in his absence, who passed on the responsibility to me. I am the global trustee. The Global Estate Trust is born. The Unum Sanctum creates the world's first and largest express trust. The Romanus Pontifex First Testamentary Trust published by Nicholas V. The Aeterni Regis Second Testamentary Trust published by Sixtus IV. The Convocation Third Testamentary Trust published by Paul III. The trust includes the air jurisdiction, living and dead souls, spirits, angels, demons, ideas global in nature, are controlled by the Pope and his appointees. The sea jurisdiction, all vessels, mariners, sailors, merchants, creatures of the sea, international in nature, are controlled by the British monarchs. The land jurisdiction, all resources of the land, including people, animals, plants, and minerals, are national in nature, are controlled by the Spanish king, if there is one. The law forms, each jurisdiction has its own law form: jurisdiction of the air, jurisdiction of the land, and jurisdiction of the sea. Jurisdiction of the air. Air jurisdiction has only 3 real natural laws, the golden rules. 1. Keep the peace. 2. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. 3. So long as it does not take away another's freedom, life, property, or do others such harm, do what you like and let others enjoy their free will too. Jurisdiction of the land. Founded upon Declaration of Independence, common sense, public law, common law, Geneva Conventions, Constitution, Mosaic law, includes American state citizens. National law of the land. Americans fly the civil flag with vertical stripes. Jurisdiction of the sea. Founded upon private law, includes corporations, attorneys, states, commerce, United States citizens and U.S. citizens, not American state citizens. More on this later. The law of the sea. U.S. citizens fly the war flag with horizontal stripes. Here you can see the difference between an American state citizen and a U.S. citizen. The trust operates by providing services: postal services via postal districts and post offices, legal services and standards via bar associations, banking services and standards via banking associations, domestic police services, medical and welfare services, insurance services, defense and treaty alliance services. All this and more was being accomplished by the Global Estate Trust more than 200 years before the American Revolution. Rome is headquarters. The trust is the largest corporate conglomerate and interlocking trust directorate on Earth, with 4 administrative hubs operated as independent international city-states. This trust operates out of the Vatican, Westminster, Washington, D.C., and the United Nations. City of London. The inner city of London, also known as Westminster, operates legal and banking services. Washington, D.C. The Washington, D.C. municipality operates defense services. United Nations. The United Nations provides trade, treaty, and negotiation services for members. These independent city-states together create the Empire of the City, but it is really the Empire of the Global Estate Trust, and we are all part of it, like it or not, for the past 700 years. The Global Estate Trust comes to America 1492 to 1776. Private investment for public advancement. The dance of public and private begins. During these years, large commercial investment companies formed under royal privilege throughout England for the purpose of developing the land and resources of the North American continent. So eager were the English investors for the new opportunities that the Crown, not the monarch's investment company, had to establish investment districts throughout England and assign colonial territories for investors from each district in England to fund. Thus we had the Virginia Company and the New England Company and various other investment companies drawing in private investment money from designated locales in England to back colonization of the New World. Most early investors were buoyed by the hope that gold would be found in North America, similar to the discoveries made by the Spanish in South America. French investment companies under the French monarchy also staked out claims and formed trading companies. Aside from hopes of finding gold, these commodity trading companies focused on development of natural resources, fish, timber, mining, and agriculture to begin with. The colonists came as members of the military, as wealthy adventurers, and most commonly as bondservants indentured to serve their commercial sponsors for a period of years in return for their transportation, tools, food, and other goods needed to settle the land. Each trading company depended on a charter from their monarch, and each monarch depended on the land claims made in their behalf by commercial companies and military missions. For the better part of 2 centuries, England, France, and Spain fought over the claimed chunks of North and South America, but the basic premise of public military power, extended in support of private commercial interests, remained the same. This same arrangement continues unabated to the present day. The government uses the military to support and promote commercial expansion, and the commercial expansion pays for the government and the military. See the problem? This triumvirate of government, military, commercial interests is a closed and self-perpetuation system. The commercial interest pays the government pays the military works to protect the government and the commercial interests. The people who consume the goods that the commercial interests produce, and who also provide the labor necessary to harvest, clean, process, transport, and manufacture goods, are not really part of the loop. We and the natural resources of our planet are the actual source of all the moolah the commercial interests have, and which they use to pay the government and the military. But our power to control or even have input into this system is extremely limited. Once every 2, 4, or 6 years, we get to choose a new government official who is supposed to champion our interests, which leaves us totally dependent on the good character and intelligence of the individuals elected. Beyond that, we are free to gripe, and those elected are free to ignore us. A man is no less a slave because he is allowed to choose a new master once in a term of years. Lysander Spooner. The horns of our dilemma. With less than 30% of the people voting in the general elections, there is no consensus supporting the current political regime in Washington, D.C. Even among those who do continue to participate in the electoral process, there is no unity and a great deal of discontent. Millions of Americans have simply voted with their feet. We appear to be on the horns of a dilemma, unwilling to support what is and unable to find our way forward to reform it. And we are still dealing with problems from a long time ago that people failed to address. Both the bulls and the chickens have come home to roost. Purchase a hard copy of this book at Amazon.com or download a free PDF copy at states.americanstatenationals.org. Click on the red Education tab at the top right of the page. You will find it here.